What's up, guys? You're that trucker here, back with another video. And today is a special day because I have a load that I have never hauled before. I've seen it before, but I've never had it on my trailer. And at the point of recording this video, I've been with TMC for a few years, and it's always exciting when I get something new because having been around for so long, I get a lot of rinse and repeat loads. Even if it's stuff that's like a little bit more taxing to do, it's still always fun to get something that adds to my knowledge base. And today is actually something that's pretty easy, and I'm thankful for that. But let me show you what it is. Boom. It may be underwhelming for some of you guys to see this, but it's just Greasy Bars, which is very similar to rebar, but there's a few caveats to how you have to secure this stuff to make sure that it is safe and secure on your trailer. I'm going to show you guys how to do that right now. Let's get to it. All right, guys, as I previously stated, I have a load of Greasy Bars on the trailer today, and the securement process for these is not that much different from a standard load of rebar, except for a couple of caveats. One of those being that you need to have a bulkhead in both the front and the rear of the trailer. And the bulkhead in the rear is needed because these these bars are coated in a slick material that would increase the possibility of the load walking itself backwards off the trailer just because of vibration, or you stopping one way or another, and the rear bulkhead will stop that. Aside from that, I will be putting choke straps in the front of the load and the rear because, as you can see, I have 5 individual bundles right there, and the choke straps will just help to squeeze those bundles together and prevent any movement of the load. And aside from that, I would just be putting just standard straps over the top. This load weighs, I believe, slightly under 45,000 pounds. So by TMC standards, anything that's 42,668 pounds, I believe, between that amount and 48,000 pounds needs to have a minimum of 9 straps on it. So that's going to be really easy to do. Let me see, anything else? Well, yeah, since it's a certain time of year, they're not really worried about the weather. So I do not need to tarp this load, fortunately. So I'm just going to tarp this and be right out of here. And it's a great thing for me because this load is only going about 370 miles. So I'll be able to knock this out pretty quick. I think it's going to equate to about 6.5, 7 hours, something like that, depending on how the roads treat me. But without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get securing. Before I get started, another thing that I wanted to add to the setup here is when you come to a place like this to pick up, the loader may need you to stand at the back of your trailer and let them know where exactly on your trailer you want them to place the product. Now, when you have something like this, you want to make sure that it is loaded with the product centered on your trailer. So make sure they don't put it too far to the left or right. You want all the bundles being as close as they can be packed into the middle. That way the load will be balanced, and when you take your left or right turns going around bends, the weight is not too heavy on one side or the other. Make your trailer rock like that and increase the odds of you flipping your truck over. But you can mitigate that risk also by making sure that you're driving the correct way out here. Don't go too fast around those bends. Don't be in a rush. Keep the trailer right side up. Keep that load on there. Make sure you're keeping your money in your pocket, not paying it to an insurance company. Let me see here. Oh, with the bulkhead, the front bulkhead is always going to be the most important one. Forgot to mention that before, always, because you don't want the load coming forward, especially when you have who knows how many dozens of individual bars. I mean, they're wrapped together by those metal bindings, but you don't want any of that stuff coming forward on you. Imagine all of those miniature missiles coming through your headache rack into the cab of the truck, turning you into a shish kebab, or going all over the road or anything crazy like that. So always make sure you got your forward movement protection on there. I've seen some crazy drivers out there that take their lives into their own hands and basically risk everybody else's life too, not putting bulkheads up or using forward movement protection when they should. To me, the forward movement protection is the most important part of the securement. So I don't want this load coming forward ending my life prematurely, guys. And I hope that you guys feel the same way about yourselves. Protect yourself, always. But let's go ahead and get to this.
Make sure you got remembering to put your first 2 pieces of securement within the first 5 feet of the wood, of course. You don't want DOT hassle when you're down the road. You play safe. And make sure you're alternating with straps as well. I like to put a strap every 4 feet or 3 feet. And like to alternate them so we drop even amount of pull on the passenger hands like straps.
When it comes to time for you to thread those straps underneath the load so that you can make your choke strap, it helps to have an extra protector pole like this. I call it a wide joint. That's probably not what it's actually called in plumbing, but you can just make these at you know, your local home improvement store. Get yourself some PVC pipe. I got a couple. This one, probably can't get it all in frame right now. And then this is just an extender. That way I can put them together like so and reach from one side of the trailer to the other and not have to keep walking back and forth all the time. It's handy for that. And I have a different edge protector pole when I'm actually putting edge protectors up. But this one's good for moving things around. Straps like this, or when you have really tall loads as well. Finished product, guys. Pretty easy load to do, nothing complicated. Just making sure that you cover the extra steps with the specifics that this type of load requires. But let me give you guys a close-up look and a few hints and tips to make this go smoothly for you as well. So coming on down, first thing, we'll start with the front, the bulkhead. What you need to make sure you're doing is putting this bulkhead as close up to the load as you can. Now see, this one's got some space in between it, but that load over there is like butted up right against the dunnage, and that's to make sure that this load, if you have to stop short, hit your brakes, anything happens, somebody cuts you off, you stopping, the momentum of your truck and trailer stopping suddenly stops right here. It doesn't have a whole bunch of space to pick up speed and go flying further than this dunnage. It'll come to a dead stop right here. So make sure your chains are always tight. And here, of course, 2 pieces of securement within the first 5 feet. This is just a standard strap over the top, and this is my choke strap, my first one, the one I have in the front. Make sure you're cranking down on that. Your straps should sound like that once you're done tightening them. On metal loads, I always crank it down as tightly as I possibly can. And you want to hear that sound. That's how you know it is bone crushingly tight. Don't have to worry about damaging this stuff at all. And then throughout the middle, it's just standard straps over the top. Now I told you guys that because of the weight of this load, it needed to have a total of 9 straps. And I also said that I put a strap or a piece of securement every 4 feet. Now these are 30-foot bundles, so I ended up having to put a strap more than or less than 4 feet apart in a couple of spaces, just so I could cover the required amount of straps to secure this load down. So I just picked a couple of you know, spots to throw the last 2 so that I would be covered on that front. Here's my rear choke strap. Like I say, the choke straps are squeezing the load together so it can't move these 5 individual bundles. And make sure you're also leaving the excess strap right here between the strap and the trailer. You don't want to have just this piece of strap, because I mean, look how thin that is. It's a strap and it's strong, but if you have something really thin up against a metal edge, you know, the vibration you're driving down the trailer, it can cut this, because there are some jagged points you can see really close on that. You know, most of this trailer edge is smooth, but some of these points are jagged, you know, forklift hitting it or, you know, whatever. So you don't want a piece of jagged metal up against your fabric strap, cut right through that. So always make sure you're protecting your strap from the rub rail. And the last 2 were just I just replicated what I had in the front, 2 straps within the first 5 feet. You don't have to do it like that, but I just figured why not, since I needed to kill some of the extra space needed to have a total of 9 straps on this relatively short load. And same thing with the bulkhead in the back, butted up right against the product. That way it's not going to move at all. For this, I may have mentioned it in previous videos, but I carry a total of 12 pieces of dunnage on the trailer with me. And I started doing that a long time ago, and very rarely do I have to actually use all of them. But every time when I've had to use all of my dunnage, it's always been on a load of rebar. First time I had Greasy Bars today, had to use all 12 pieces of my dunnage. And when I go to places like, say, CMC Steel or any other place that has rebar or some type of metal bars that I have to pick up, I always end up using all of my dunnage, or very close to it. Have like 1 or maybe 2 pieces left. And that's because I have to put dunnage under the load. This load has 5 pieces of dunnage under it, and it took 4 pieces of dunnage in the front, and I had to put my last 3 back here. Now, the reason why I put 4 in front, well, aside from me not having enough to put 4 in the back, but when you make your bulkhead in the front, you need to make sure that your bulkhead is higher, or at least matching up with the height of the load that you have. Sometimes that would be impossible, you know, if you have something super crazy tall, like, I don't know, like some tall skids, you know, but you at least want to have the majority of the load covered by the height of your dunnage. So 3 or 4, I'm not sure if 4 would be standard, that you need to make sure you're doing all the time, or just to make sure that you're taller than something like this. I'm not sure, but if you're unsure, better safe than sorry. Use 4 if you have 4 to spare. But that part's covered, and in the back you don't have to have 4, because we're not as worried about the load going backwards on us. But we have enough, and I'll show you guys close. pretty much covering it. It's covering it enough so that, you know, the majority of the load back here is covered by the dunnage and it's not going to go anywhere. There's maybe like a few pieces in the back that are a little bit higher than this, but not a big deal. Give you guys a view there. Look at that. Everything's looking great. So we're gonna go ahead and hurry up and get out of here, and I'll show you guys a 360 of this load before I head out. Okay guys, I had one last thing cross my mind before I get out of here, and it's when you are securing this stuff, make sure that you are keeping an eye on where the metal bindings are for these bundles. Now you see here, I can give you guys a close up, this metal right here. You want to try to make sure that your strap isn't really on that if you can avoid it. Okay, I had one last thing cross my mind before I head out of here, and when you are throwing your straps on rebar, if the rebar is bound in bundles like mine is, you want to make sure that when you throw your straps, you don't throw your strap directly over these metal bindings if you can help it, because I'll give you guys a close-up of that. You see how they have a little prong sticking up right there. And if you have your cloth strap over top of that, when you tighten your strap down, you might get some punctures in your straps possibly, and punctures will turn into tears. Tears will turn into load shifts if you have enough of them and enough straps. So you want to avoid that, and you want to preserve the equipment you got so you don't have to stop somewhere and buy some new stuff or go to a terminal and have them replace it. So just make sure you guys are paying attention to the fine details. Bulkhead in the front and the rear, not throwing a strap over a buckle, making sure that your bulkheads are butted up right against the load, and you will be just fine with this stuff, guys. Well, there you have it, guys. My first load of Greasy Bars. Super easy. I'm gonna go ahead and mark this one as a success. I'm not gonna have any trouble driving it to where it needs to go 6-7 hours down the road, getting rid of this stuff. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit watching this video. I'm gonna go ahead and get myself out of here so I can have an early end to my day. I love it when that kind of thing happens, and I love having an easy load to pick up. So I'll see you guys further down the road. Appreciate you guys all watching. Later.